The platinum band strikes me across the cheek with enough force to leave a mark that will fade faster than our 7-year marriage. The ring bounces off the hardwood floor of our kitchen, spinning like a coin before settling near the dishwasher with a metallic clink that sounds like finality. "Find someone stupid enough to wear it," Talia Brooks screams, her face twisted into something I barely recognize. Her fitness influencer smile, the one that charmed 200,000 Instagram followers, has vanished completely. This is the real Talia, the one her audience never sees. I touch my cheek where the ring hit. No cut, just a sting that matches the one in my chest. I bend down and pick up the ring, examining the inscription inside. "Forever begins today, K&T." The irony tastes bitter. 7 years, I say quietly, pocketing the ring. 7 years, and this is how it ends. "It ended the moment you became boring, Kellan." She crosses her arms, still wearing her workout gear from the gym. Even in our kitchen, even during our divorce conversation, she looks like she's posing for a photo. "You think I'm going to spend the rest of my life with someone who gets excited about software updates and quarterly reports?" I lean against the counter, studying her face. Talia Brooks, soon to be Talia something else, I suppose. 34 years old, 5'6", blonde hair that costs more to maintain than most people's car payments. She built her entire identity around being perfect, and for 7 years, I believed she was. "When did you decide?" I ask. "When did you decide our marriage was over?" She shrugs, already losing interest in the conversation. Her phone buzzes on the counter, probably another brand partnership offer or a comment from one of her followers. She glances at it instinctively. "Does it matter? It's over now." She picks up her phone, scrolling through notifications. "My attorney will contact yours next week. I want half of everything, Kellan. The house, your company shares, that inheritance from your grandmother. All of it." The inheritance. $2.3 million from Grandma Eleanor, received 2 months before our wedding. Money that Talia insisted I put into our joint accounts because it shows trust between married couples. Money I was stupid enough to commingle because I believed in us. Half of everything, I repeat, including money that was mine before we married. Community property, sweetie. We're in California, remember? She doesn't even look up from her phone. "You should have thought about that before you put it in our joint account." I remember that conversation now, how she'd made it seem romantic, how she'd said keeping separate accounts was for people who didn't trust each other, how she'd convinced me that true partners shared everything. "You planned this," I say, the realization hitting me like cold water. "You planned all of this." Now she looks up, and for just a moment I see something flash across her face. Not guilt. Talia doesn't do guilt. Something sharper. Something calculating. "Don't be paranoid, Kellan. It makes you sound desperate." But I'm not paranoid. I'm finally awake. I think about the timing, how she became distant right after the inheritance cleared, how she started spending more time at the gym, more time with her friends, more time anywhere that wasn't here with me, how she suddenly developed fertility complications that made having children impossible right now. "Who is he?" I ask. "Who is who?" "The guy you're leaving me for. There's always a guy, Talia." She sets her phone down and looks at me with something that might be pity. There doesn't have to be someone else for me to realize I married the wrong person. But there is someone else. I can see it in the way she keeps checking her phone, in the new workout clothes that cost more than my car payment, in the way she's been coming home later and later from the gym. Someone is making her feel like the center of the universe again, and it isn't me. "I'll need you out of the house by Friday," she says, picking up her protein shake from the counter. "My attorney says it's better if we're separated during the proceedings." This is my house, too. Our house. And I'm not the one who wants the divorce, remember? You can go stay with Richard or get a hotel, I don't care which. She heads toward the stairs, probably going to shower and post another motivational quote about choosing happiness, or embracing change. Her followers eat that stuff up. They think she's inspiring. "Talia." She stops at the bottom of the stairs, not turning around. "I remember everything," I say. "Every conversation, every lie, every manipulation. I remember all of it." She turns then, and for the first time since this conversation started, she looks uncertain. "Good for you, Kellan. Memory lane won't help you in divorce court." She disappears upstairs, leaving me alone in our kitchen with the echo of her words and the weight of the ring in my pocket. I pour myself a glass of water and sit at the breakfast bar, looking around at the house we bought together 3 years ago. The house she wants me to leave so she can play victim to her attorney. My phone buzzes. A text from my business partner, David. "How did it go? You okay?" I don't answer. I'm not okay, but I'm not broken either. I'm something else entirely. Something I've never been before. I'm angry. Not the hot, explosive anger that makes people do stupid things. The cold, calculating anger that makes people do smart things. Dangerous things. I take the ring out of my pocket and set it on the counter, studying it in the afternoon light streaming through our kitchen window. 7 years of marriage reduced to a piece of metal and stone. 7 years of believing I'd found my forever person, only to discover I was just another mark in her long-term plan. My phone rings. Richard Castellano, my oldest friend and the only person who never liked Talia. "How bad?" he asks without preamble. "She wants half of everything, including the inheritance." "Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, man, I really am." "No, you're not. You warned me about her from the beginning." Richard is quiet for a moment. "Being right doesn't make me happy, Kellan. You're my best friend. I wanted to be wrong." "She's got someone else. I'm sure of it." "You want me to find out who?" Richard owns a small private investigation firm. Nothing glamorous, mostly insurance fraud and cheating spouses. The kind of work that pays well because people are predictably awful to each other. "Not yet," I say, surprising myself. "Let me think about this." "Don't do anything stupid." "Define stupid." "Anything that ends with you in handcuffs or bankruptcy court." I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Too late for bankruptcy court. She's already planning to clean me out. "We'll see about that. Get yourself a good attorney, someone who specializes in complex divorces." "Already on it." After Richard hangs up, I sit in the silence of our kitchen, listening to Talia move around upstairs. The shower runs. Her phone plays music. Life goes on for her like nothing happened, like she didn't just detonate 7 years of my life with a smile and a ring to the face. I think about what she said. That memory lane won't help me in divorce court. She's probably right about that. But memory is all I have right now, and I'm going to use every piece of it. I remember the early days when she was pursuing me, how she always seemed to know exactly what I wanted to hear. I remember how she encouraged me to take risks with my software company, how she supported my decision to accept the acquisition offer that made me wealthy. I remember how she insisted on joint accounts and shared assets because that's what real partners do. I remember how she always asked about my work, about my clients, about the details of my business deals, how she wanted to understand everything about my professional life because I want to be part of your success. And I remember thinking how lucky I was to find someone who cared so much about my dreams. The shower stops upstairs. Soon she'll come down, grab her keys, and head out for the evening. Probably to see him, whoever he is. Probably to celebrate the successful launch of her exit strategy. I take out my phone and scroll through my contacts until I find the number for Margaret Chen, the attorney David recommended when his own divorce got messy 2 years ago. She specializes in high-asset divorces and has a reputation for being thorough. Margaret Chen's office. "This is Kellan Brooks. I need to schedule a consultation. It's urgent." "How urgent?" "My wife just served me with divorce papers and wants half of everything, including money I inherited before we were married." "How much money are we talking about?" $2.3 million, plus my share of a software company worth about $4 million. "I can see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bring every financial document you have access to. Bank statements, tax returns, business records, everything." "I'll be there." I hang up and look around the kitchen again. In 48 hours, everything I thought I knew about my life has changed. But maybe that's not entirely bad. Maybe it's time I stopped being the kind of person things happen to and started being the kind of person who makes things happen. I pick up the ring and hold it up to the light. The diamond catches the afternoon sun and throws tiny rainbows across the wall. Beautiful and expensive and meaningless now. "Find someone stupid enough to wear it," I say to the empty kitchen, repeating Talia's words. The irony is, I already found someone stupid enough to wear it. Me, for 7 years. But I'm not stupid anymore. Margaret Chen's office occupies the 20th floor of a downtown Los Angeles high-rise, with floor-to-ceiling windows that offer a view of the city sprawling toward the Pacific. She's younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes behind designer glasses and the kind of confidence that comes from winning battles other people lose. "Your wife is good," she says, spreading my financial documents across her conference table. "Very good, but she made mistakes." I've been sitting here for 2 hours while Margaret and her associate, James, dissect 7 years of my financial life. Bank statements, tax returns, investment records, business contracts, everything laid out like evidence at a crime scene. "What kind of mistakes?" Margaret picks up a folder marked Brooks, Talia, Background. It's thicker than I expected. "The kind that happen when you get greedy. Tell me about your company's acquisition timeline." "We started negotiations in January 2018. The deal closed in March 2019. I received my payout in April." And when did Talia first express interest in you romantically? I think back to our early relationship. We met at a charity event in December 2017. She asked me out a week later. Margaret exchanges a look with James. Your company was already in acquisition talks by then, weren't it? The preliminary discussions that happened before formal negotiations. How did you... Yes, we'd been approached by 3 different companies starting in October 2017, but that information wasn't public. No, but it was available to someone who knew where to look, someone who understood the tech industry and had connections. Margaret opens another folder. Tell me about Talia's previous relationships. I don't know much about them. She said her first marriage was a mistake. They were too young. There was an engagement in college that didn't work out. Marcus Webb, married 2015, divorced 2016. He owned a small manufacturing company that was sold during their divorce proceedings. He walked away with almost nothing. She slides a newspaper clipping across the table. The headline reads, Local business owner loses everything in bitter divorce battle. And the college fiancé? Thomas Chen, no relation to me, trust fund kid from a wealthy family. The engagement ended when his family threatened to cut him off financially. Interesting timing, since it happened right after his grandfather died and left him a substantial inheritance. My stomach drops. She has a pattern. She has a business model, Margaret corrects, and you were her biggest target yet. James pulls out a laptop and turns it toward me. We ran a financial analysis on your joint accounts. Look at this. The screen shows a timeline of deposits and withdrawals from our shared checking and savings accounts. Green bars for money coming in, red bars for money going out. Notice anything interesting about the timing? I study the chart. The pattern becomes clear after a few seconds. She made large withdrawals right after major deposits, every time. Specifically, every time you received business income, bonuses, or investment returns. The money would sit in your joint account for exactly long enough to establish community property claims, then disappear into accounts we can't trace. Where did it go? Margaret slides another document across the table. That's what we're going to find out. But first, tell me about her business activities. The fitness influencer career. She started that about 3 years ago, built up a pretty good following, makes money from sponsorships and online training programs. How much money? I don't know exactly. She handles her own business finances. According to her tax returns, which we obtained through Discovery, she reported income of $43,000 last year, but her spending patterns suggest access to significantly more money. James pulls up another screen showing credit card statements and purchase records. Designer clothes, luxury spa treatments, high-end gym equipment, expensive supplements. Her documented spending last year exceeded $200,000. Maybe she's just bad with money. Or maybe she's very good with other people's money, Margaret says. We found something else interesting. She opens a folder labeled Digital Forensics and pulls out several printed emails. Your IT security consultant provided these. They're from Talia's personal email account, which was synced to the laptop she used at home. I recognize the laptop, a MacBook Air I bought her 2 Christmases ago so she could work on her fitness content from home. What do they say? Margaret hands me the first email. It's from Talia to someone named mbrooks99@gmail.com. The target is more valuable than we initially thought. The company acquisition went through ahead of schedule, and the inheritance from his grandmother was larger than expected. We should be able to extract at least $3 million, possibly more if we can drag out the proceedings. I read the email 3 times before the words sink in. M. Brooks, that's her sister, Mira. Keep reading. The next email is even worse. He's starting to ask questions about the fertility treatments. I told him the doctor wants to wait another 6 months before trying IVF, but I don't think he believes me. We need to accelerate the timeline. I'll create some kind of crisis to justify the separation. My hands are shaking. She was never trying to have children. According to her medical records, she's been on birth control the entire time you've been married. The fertility complications were fabricated. The room feels like it's spinning. 7 years of marriage, 7 years of believing we were building a life together, and it was all theater. Every conversation about our future, every plan we made, every moment of intimacy, all of it was performance art designed to extract maximum value from my bank accounts. There's more, Margaret says gently, but maybe we should take a break. No, I want to see all of it. She hands me another email, this one from Mira to Talia. Mom says you're moving too fast. The other targets took longer to develop trust. If you push too hard, he might get suspicious and hire an attorney before you're ready. Other targets? Your wife's mother, Patricia Brooks, appears to be the architect of this operation. We're still investigating, but the pattern suggests this is a family business. James turns his laptop toward me again. We also found these. The screen shows a folder labeled Kellan Business Intel. Inside are dozens of files, screenshots of my company's internal emails, client lists, financial projections, strategic plans. She was conducting industrial espionage. She was gathering intelligence for multiple purposes. Some of this information would be valuable to your competitors. Some of it would be useful in divorce proceedings. All of it represents a serious breach of your company's security. I think about all the times Talia asked innocent questions about my work. How she wanted to understand my business because she cared about my success. How she encouraged me to bring work home so we could spend more time together. How long have you known? We started investigating yesterday after you called, but some of this information came from a tip we received 3 weeks ago. A tip from who? Margaret hesitates. Someone who claims to have inside knowledge of your wife's activities. Someone who wants to help. Who? Mira Brooks, your wife's sister. The room goes quiet except for the hum of air conditioning and distant traffic 20 floors below. Mira, the sister I've met maybe a dozen times in 7 years. The one Talia always described as the black sheep of the family. The one who couldn't get her life together. The one who was jealous of Talia's success. She contacted you? She contacted us 3 weeks ago, right around the time your wife started talking about divorce. She said she couldn't watch it happen again. Again? The other husbands, the other targets. She said she tried to warn them, but they didn't listen. She's hoping you will. Margaret pulls out her phone. She's waiting to hear from you. Says she has information that will change everything. I stare at the phone number written on Margaret's notepad. 10 digits that could rewrite everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my wife, and her family. What does she want in return? Nothing. She says she just wants it to stop. I think about Mira. Quiet, bookish, always slightly uncomfortable at family gatherings. The sister who never quite fit with Talia's polished perfection. The one who worked as a librarian while Talia built her influencer empire. The one Talia always described with a mixture of pity and condescension. Call her, I say. Margaret dials the number and puts the phone on speaker. This is Mira. Her voice is softer than I remember, with a slight tremor that suggests she's nervous. Mira, this is Kellan Brooks. I'm here with my attorney, Margaret Chen. Kellan. She sounds relieved. I wasn't sure you'd want to talk to me. I want to hear what you have to say. Not over the phone. Can we meet? There are things I need to show you, documents, evidence, things that will help you understand what you're really dealing with. Where? There's a coffee shop in Santa Monica, The Grind on 3rd Street. Can you meet me there at 7 tonight? I look at Margaret, who nods. I'll be there. Kellan? Be careful who you trust. This goes deeper than just Talia, much deeper. The line goes quiet. Margaret turns off the speaker and looks at me with something that might be sympathy. Are you ready for this? Because once you start down this path, you can't go back to believing your marriage was real. I think about the ring in my pocket, about Talia's words when she threw it at my face, about 7 years of carefully constructed lies. My marriage was never real, I say. I'm ready to find out what was. The Grind is one of those coffee shops that tries too hard to be quirky. Mismatched furniture, local art on the walls, a chalkboard menu written in unnecessarily elaborate script. I arrive 15 minutes early and choose a table in the back corner where we can talk without being overheard. Mira Brooks walks in at exactly 7 o'clock, scanning the room until she spots me. She's changed since the last time I saw her at Christmas dinner 2 years ago. Thinner, with dark circles under her eyes and an uncertainty in her posture that suggests she's been carrying a heavy burden. Kellan. She slides into the chair across from me, clutching a leather messenger bag like it contains state secrets. Thank you for coming. Thank you for reaching out. I have to admit, I'm curious why you're helping me. She orders a black coffee from the server and waits until we're alone before answering. Because I can't watch her do it again. Because I'm tired of being complicit in my family's business model. And because you deserve to know the truth. Margaret showed me some emails, communications between you and Talia about extracting money from our marriage. Mira's face flushes. Those emails are why I'm here. I participated in the early stages, Kellan. I helped her research you, your company, your financial situation. I was part of it. The admission hits harder than I expected. Why? Because that's how our family works. That's how we were raised. The Brooks women marry for profit, and everyone contributes to the effort. She opens her messenger bag and pulls out a thick folder. My mother, Patricia Brooks, has been running this operation for 30 years. She scouts targets, develops strategies, and coaches her daughters through the extraction process. Talia is her star pupil. And you? I was supposed to be next. After Talia finished with you, I was supposed to start my own campaign. Mom had already identified 3 potential targets for me. She slides a photograph across the table. It shows a younger version of Patricia Brooks standing next to a man in an expensive suit. That's my mother's second husband, William Chen. He owned a chain of restaurants in Northern California. They were married for 3 years before he figured out what was happening. What happened to him? He lost everything. The restaurants, his savings, his house. Mom walked away with $2 million and moved to Palm Springs to plan her next campaign. How many times has she done this? 4 marriages, plus whatever Talia and I were supposed to contribute. It's been the family business for as long as I can remember. Mira pulls out another document, a handwritten notebook filled with names, dates, and dollar amounts. This is Mom's ledger. Every target, every extraction, every dollar recovered. She keeps meticulous records. I flip through the pages, seeing years of calculated devastation reduced to neat columns of figures. Marcus Webb, $340,000. Thomas Chen, $180,000. A dozen other names I don't recognize, each representing someone's life savings transferred to the Brooks family accounts. Why are you showing me this? Because you're the biggest target we've ever pursued, and because I can't be part of it anymore. She reaches into her bag again and pulls out a legal document. I changed my name last week. Legally severed myself from the Brooks family. I'm Mira Venton now, my grandmother's maiden name. You're walking away from your family? I'm walking away from a criminal enterprise. There's a difference. The server brings Mira's coffee, and she wraps her hands around the mug like she's trying to warm herself. There's something else you need to know about Talia, something that will destroy her credibility completely. What? She has a daughter. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? Emma, she's 6 years old, from Talia's first marriage to Marcus Webb. I stare at Mira, trying to process this information. That's impossible. Talia told me she's never been able to have children. We've been trying for 3 years. You've been trying. She's been preventing. The fertility complications were fabricated to buy time for the extraction. Mira pulls out her phone and shows me a photograph. A little girl with Talia's blonde hair and bright smile, sitting on a swing set. Emma lives with my mother in Palm Springs. Talia visits every few weeks, but tells people she's going to spa retreats or business conferences. Why hide her? Because children complicate the con. Targets ask questions about custody, child support, parental responsibilities. It's easier to pretend they don't exist until after the extraction is complete. I think about all the conversations Talia and I had about starting a family. How disappointed she seemed every month when her period arrived. How she cried when the fertility doctor, who probably doesn't exist, told her they should wait before trying IVF. She was never going to have children with me. The plan was to string you along until the divorce was finalized, then disappear. You would never have known about Emma. Does Marcus Webb know he has a daughter? No. Mom convinced Talia to hide the pregnancy until after their divorce was final. He thinks Talia miscarried. I close the notebook and push it back across the table. This is insane. This is criminal conspiracy. Yes, it is, and I have evidence of all of it. Mira reaches into her bag one more time and pulls out a small digital recorder. I've been documenting everything for the past 2 years. Conversations with my mother, strategy sessions with Talia, planning meetings for future targets, hours of recorded evidence. Why? Because I knew someday I'd want out, and I knew they'd never let me leave quietly. This is my insurance policy. She slides the recorder across the table. There are 43 hours of recordings on there, enough to destroy their operation completely and send both of them to prison for fraud, conspiracy, and extortion. I pick up the recorder, surprised by how light it feels for something that could change everything. What do you want me to do with this? Whatever you think is right. But Kellan, you need to understand. If you use this evidence, it won't just destroy Talia. It will destroy my mother, my family, everything we've built over 30 years. And you're okay with that. I'm more than okay with it. I'm counting on it. We sit in silence for a moment, listening to the coffee shop's ambient noise, conversations, espresso machines, indie music playing too loudly. Why should I trust you? I ask finally. You admitted you were part of this. How do I know this isn't another con? Mira reaches into her purse and pulls out a small jewelry box. Because of this? She opens the box, revealing a simple silver ring with a small diamond. This was my grandmother's engagement ring, the only thing of value I inherited when she passed away. I was supposed to sell it to help fund Talia's operation against you. She closes the box and puts it back in her purse. Instead, I'm keeping it. And I'm going to wear it someday when I marry someone I actually love, not someone I'm targeting for financial extraction. That's not exactly proof of your sincerity. No, but this is. She pulls out another document, a bank statement showing an account balance of $1,247. This is everything I have left after walking away from my family. I gave up my share of the Brooks family assets, my trust fund, my inheritance from my mother's previous extractions. I chose poverty over participation. She stands up, leaving the folder and recorder on the table. The choice is yours now, Kellan. You can use that evidence to protect yourself and destroy their operation, or you can try to handle this through normal divorce proceedings and hope for the best. Where are you going? Home, to my studio apartment in Venice Beach that costs more than I make as a librarian. To my new life as someone who has to work for a living instead of stealing from innocent people. She starts to leave, then turns back. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my family, for what we did to you, for the years you lost believing in something that was never real. Mira, she stops. How do I contact you? You don't. After tonight, I'm disappearing from the situation completely. Whatever you decide to do with that evidence, you're on your own. What if I need to verify something? What if I have questions about the recordings? Then you'll have to figure it out yourself. I've done everything I can do. She walks away, leaving me alone with a folder full of evidence and a recorder full of confessions. Through the coffee shop window, I watch her disappear into the Santa Monica evening, carrying nothing but her purse and the weight of her family's crimes. I look down at the materials she left behind. 43 hours of recorded evidence. Financial records spanning 3 decades, a complete blueprint of a criminal operation that destroyed dozens of lives and stole millions of dollars. And at the center of it all, my wife. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted, the woman I believed was building a future with me. I pick up the recorder and press play. Talia's voice fills my earphones, clear and confident. The target is emotionally vulnerable and financially naive. He'll believe whatever story we construct about fertility problems and delayed gratification. By the time he realizes what's happening, we'll have extracted everything of value and disappeared. I turn off the recorder and put it in my pocket along with the folder. Tomorrow, I'm going to start destroying their operation piece by piece. But tonight, I'm going to go home and grieve the end of my marriage one last time. Margaret Chen's conference room has been transformed into a war room. Financial documents cover every surface, multiple laptops display spreadsheets and legal briefs, and a whiteboard on the far wall shows a timeline of Talia's operation against me stretching back 7 years. The recordings are devastating, Margaret says, ejecting a flash drive from her laptop. 43 hours of your wife and her mother planning, executing, and celebrating financial fraud. Any jury in the country would convict them. It's been 2 weeks since my meeting with Mira. 2 weeks of analyzing evidence and building our counter strategy. The digital forensics team recovered even more damaging material from Talia's devices. Deleted emails, hidden financial accounts, and something that changes everything. Show him the deepfake files, James says. Margaret clicks open a folder on her laptop labeled Synthetic Media. Inside are dozens of audio files, each labeled with my name and a date. Your wife was creating fake recordings of your voice, confessions to hidden assets, admissions of business fraud, statements about offshore accounts that don't exist. She plays one of the files. My voice, perfectly reproduced, says, I've been hiding money from Talia for years. The Cayman Islands account has over $1 million that she doesn't know about. That's not me. We know. The metadata shows these files were created using commercial deepfake software. She was planning to use them as evidence in divorce proceedings. She was going to frame me. She was going to destroy you, financially, legally, and personally. Margaret pulls up another screen showing a detailed timeline. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. First, she'd file for divorce and demand half of everything. When you contested her claims to your inheritance, she'd produce the fake audio files suggesting you were hiding additional assets, which would trigger forensic accounting investigations. Exactly. And while you were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars defending yourself against fabricated fraud charges, she'd be liquidating your joint assets and disappearing. James opens another laptop. We also found her exit strategy: plane tickets to Costa Rica, a rental agreement for a house in San Jose, and enrollment documents for Emma at an international school. She was planning to flee the country? With your money, your daughter, who you didn't know existed, and a new identity, Patricia Brooks has been planning this extraction for 3 years. I lean back in my chair, trying to process the scope of their operation. It's not just theft. It's the complete destruction of another human being's life, planned and executed with corporate efficiency. What's our next move? Margaret smiles, and there's something predatory in her expression. We're going to destroy them, publicly, legally, and completely. How? By turning their own weapons against them. They've been using social manipulation and public perception as tools of control. It's time they experienced what that feels like from the other side. She pulls out a thick folder labeled Counter Operation. Phase 1 starts tomorrow. We're going to expose Talia's operation to everyone who matters. Her followers, her sponsors, her social circle, and the media. Is that legal? Everything we're planning is not only legal, it's necessary for your protection. These people have been committing crimes against you for 7 years. We have every right to defend yourself. James turns his laptop toward me. The screen shows Talia's Instagram profile, 230,000 followers, hundreds of posts about fitness, motivation, and living your best life. Her entire brand is built on authenticity and inspiration. She tells her followers that she's living proof that you can overcome any obstacle and achieve your dreams. And tomorrow, her followers are going to learn the truth about how she really achieves her dreams. Margaret opens another folder. We've prepared a comprehensive dossier documenting her operation. Financial records, email communications, audio recordings, and testimony from previous victims. Previous victims? Marcus Webb agreed to cooperate after we contacted him. Thomas Chen is flying in from Portland to give a deposition. We have statements from 3 other men who were targeted by Patricia Brooks over the past decade. They're all willing to go public? They're eager to go public. These people destroyed their lives and walked away laughing. They want justice. James pulls up a website mock-up on his laptop. The header reads, The Brooks Family Business, a Criminal Enterprise. We're launching this tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., right when Talia's audience is most active on social media. The website is comprehensive and devastating. Timeline of operations, victim testimonies, financial evidence, and audio recordings of Talia and her mother planning their crimes. This will destroy her influencer career. That's the point, Margaret says. But it's just the beginning. She opens another folder labeled Legal Proceedings. We're filing criminal complaints against both Talia and Patricia Brooks for fraud, conspiracy, extortion, and identity theft. The deepfake audio files constitute a federal crime under the Deepfakes Accountability Act. They'll be arrested. They'll be indicted, and while they're dealing with criminal charges, we'll be pursuing civil action to recover every dollar they've stolen from you and their other victims. What about Emma? The little girl doesn't deserve to be hurt by this. Margaret's expression softens slightly. We've contacted Child Protective Services. Emma will be placed in protective custody while the criminal proceedings unfold. She'll be safe. And Mira? Mira Venton has immunity in exchange for her cooperation. She's the star witness who makes our entire case possible. I think about Mira, alone in her studio apartment, having given up everything to stop her family's criminal operation. I want to help her. Help her how? Financially. She gave up her entire life to do the right thing. The least I can do is make sure she doesn't starve while we're destroying her family. Margaret nods. We can arrange that through a victim's compensation fund, completely legal and appropriate. James closes his laptop. There's one more thing you need to decide. What? How public you want to go with this. We can handle everything through legal channels, or we can turn this into a media spectacle that ensures everyone knows what happened. I think about Talia's Instagram posts, all those motivational quotes about authenticity and integrity. I think about her followers who believe she's a role model, who pay for her training programs and buy products she endorses. I want everyone to know, I say. Every follower, every sponsor, every person who thinks she's inspirational. I want them to know exactly who they've been supporting. Margaret grins. I was hoping you'd say that. She pulls out one final document, a press release ready for distribution to media outlets across the country. Local fitness influencer charged in multi-million-dollar marriage fraud scheme. This goes out to every major news outlet in California tomorrow at noon. She'll be ruined. She'll be exposed. There's a difference. I look around the conference room at the evidence of 7 years of calculated deception, financial records, email communications, audio recordings, and legal documents that tell the story of my marriage better than my own memories do. When does this start? Tomorrow morning. By the time Talia wakes up, her entire world will be falling apart. And if she tries to run, she can't. We've frozen her assets and flagged her passport. She's trapped. Margaret starts packing documents into boxes. Go home, Kellan. Get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a very long day. I drive home through the Los Angeles evening traffic, thinking about everything that's about to happen. In 12 hours, Talia's carefully constructed life will start collapsing. Her followers will abandon her, her sponsors will drop her, and her criminal operation will be exposed to the world. Part of me feels sorry for her. 7 years of marriage creates emotional attachments that don't disappear just because you discover they were based on lies. But a larger part of me feels something I haven't experienced in weeks: hope. For the first time since she threw that ring in my face, I'm not the victim in this story. Tomorrow, I become something else entirely. The notification sound from my phone wakes me at 6:47 a.m., then another, then a continuous stream of alerts that sounds like digital rain against my bedroom window. I grab my phone and see dozens of missed calls, text messages, and social media notifications. The website went live 3 hours ago, and the internet has discovered Talia's story. The first text is from Richard. "Holy shit, man, it's everywhere. CNN, Fox, TMZ. You broke the internet." I open my laptop and search for Talia's name. The results are overwhelming. Hundreds of news articles, blog posts, and social media discussions about the Brooks family criminal enterprise. Her Instagram account has been flooded with thousands of angry comments from followers who feel betrayed and manipulated. My phone rings. Margaret Chen. "How are you holding up?" she asks. "I'm watching my wife's life implode in real time. It's surreal. It's justice. And it's just the beginning. We've had calls from 6 more victims this morning, people who were targeted by Patricia Brooks over the past 20 years. This is bigger than we thought." "Any word from Talia?" "She's been trying to reach you since 4 a.m. 17 missed calls to your cell phone, 12 to your office line. She's desperate." "What does she want?" "To negotiate, to make a deal, to convince you to make this all go away." I think about the woman I married, the woman I loved, the woman who spent 7 years systematically destroying my life for profit. "Set up a meeting." "Kellan, I don't think that's wise. She's dangerous and desperate. People in her situation do unpredictable things." "I want to look her in the eye when her world finishes falling apart. Set up the meeting." Margaret is quiet for a moment. "Okay, but we do it my way. Neutral location, recorded conversation, and I'm there with you." "Fine." "And Kellan? She's going to try every manipulation technique she knows. Tears, anger, seduction, threats. Don't let her get inside your head." After everything I've learned about her, I don't think that's possible anymore. 2 hours later, I'm sitting in a conference room at Margaret's law firm, waiting for Talia to arrive. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I can see downtown Los Angeles stretching toward the mountains, the same view I admired 2 weeks ago when this all started. The door opens, and Talia walks in. She looks terrible. Her usually perfect hair is unwashed and pulled back in a messy ponytail. She's wearing sweatpants and a UCLA t-shirt I bought her 3 years ago. No makeup, no jewelry, no carefully curated Instagram aesthetic. For the first time in 7 years, I'm seeing the real Talia Brooks. "Kellan." She sits across from me, ignoring Margaret and James completely. "We need to talk." "We're talking. Alone." "No," Margaret says firmly. "This conversation is being recorded, and I'm staying." Talia's eyes flash with anger, but she doesn't argue. She knows she has no leverage left. "You're destroying innocent people," she says, looking directly at me. "My daughter, my mother, my sister, they don't deserve this. Your daughter deserves better than being raised by criminals. Your mother deserves to be in prison, and your sister is the one who exposed your operation. Mira betrayed our family. Mira saved herself from your family." Talia leans forward, and I can see tears forming in her eyes. Real tears or another performance. After 7 years of lies, I can't tell the difference anymore. "I love you, Kellan. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. What started as business became real." "When? When did it become real?" "Our wedding day. When I saw how happy you were, how much you believed in us. I wanted to call off the whole operation." "But you didn't." "My mother wouldn't let me. She said we were too far committed, that backing out would ruin everything. So you decided to ruin me instead. I decided to try to make it work, to find a way to love you and satisfy my family's expectations." Margaret slides a document across the table. "These are the deep fake audio files we recovered from your laptop. Files you created to frame your husband for financial fraud. When exactly did you create these out of love?" Talia glances at the document and her face goes pale. "I can explain that." "Please do." "Insurance. In case things went wrong, I needed leverage to protect myself." "You needed weapons to destroy him," Margaret corrects. "Just like you destroyed Marcus Webb and Thomas Chen and a dozen other men over the past decade." "That wasn't me. That was my mother's operation." "You were an enthusiastic participant." Talia turns back to me, desperation replacing the tears in her eyes. Kellan, we can fix this. We can make a deal. I'll give back everything I took. I'll testify against my mother. I'll do whatever you want. Just make this stop. Why would I do that? Because you loved me once. Because we had good times together. Because destroying me won't undo what happened. No, but it will prevent you from doing it to someone else. I'm done with all of that. I swear to you, I'm done. You're done because you got caught. If Mira hadn't exposed you, you'd be in Costa Rica right now spending my money. Talia's mask slips completely, and I see something cold and calculating in her eyes. You self-righteous bastard. You think you're so much better than me? You made your fortune exploiting people's data and selling their privacy to advertisers. At least I was honest about being a predator. There it is, Margaret says quietly. The real Talia Brooks. Shut up, Talia snaps at Margaret, then turns back to me. You want to destroy me? Fine, but I'm taking you down with me. I have information about your business practices that will interest the SEC and the IRS. No, you don't, James says, speaking for the first time. We've analyzed every document you stole from Kellan's company. There's nothing illegal or unethical in any of it. We'll see about that. Margaret slides another document across the table. These are the criminal charges being filed against you this afternoon. Fraud, conspiracy, extortion, identity theft, and computer crimes. You're looking at 15 to 20 years in federal prison. Talia reads the charges, and I watch her face cycle through emotions. Anger, fear, desperation, and finally something that looks like acceptance. What do you want from me? She asks quietly. Full restitution to all victims. Complete cooperation in the prosecution of your mother, and a guilty plea to all charges. And in exchange, we recommend the minimum sentence and support your request for protective custody. Protective custody? Your mother has connections to some very dangerous people who don't appreciate being exposed by federal investigations. Talia is quiet for a long moment, staring at the criminal charges document. I need time to think. You have until 5 p.m. today, Margaret says. After that, the offer expires, and we proceed to trial. Talia stands up, looking older than her 34 years. Kellan, I want you to know something. The night you proposed to me, the night I said yes, that was real. For about 10 minutes, I forgot about the operation and just loved you. 10 minutes out of 7 years, I'm touched. She walks to the door, then turns back one final time. You're going to be alone for the rest of your life. You know that, right? After this, no woman will ever trust you enough to marry you. Maybe, but I'll never be stupid enough to trust the wrong woman again. She leaves without another word. Margaret closes her laptop and looks at me with something that might be sympathy. How do you feel? Empty, relieved, angry, sad. I think for a moment. Free. She'll take the deal. She doesn't have any other choice. And her mother? Patricia Brooks will spend the rest of her life in federal prison. We have enough evidence to convict her 10 times over. And Emma? Will be placed with a loving family who won't teach her that marriage is a criminal enterprise. I look out at the Los Angeles skyline, thinking about the future for the first time in weeks. What happens now? Now you rebuild your life. You've got your money back, your company is secure, and your reputation is intact. You can do whatever you want. I reach into my pocket and pull out the platinum ring Talia threw at my face 3 weeks ago. The ring that started this whole nightmare. I want to do something with this. What? I want to give it to someone who deserves it. Margaret raises an eyebrow. Anyone in mind? I think about Mira, alone in her studio apartment, having sacrificed everything to do the right thing. Mira, who chose poverty over participation in her family's crimes. Mira, who saved me from complete destruction and asked for nothing in return. Maybe, I say, putting the ring back in my pocket. We'll see. 3 months later, I'm standing in the same Santa Monica coffee shop where Mira first told me the truth about my marriage. She's sitting at our old table, looking healthier and happier than she did that night. How are you adjusting? I ask, sliding into the chair across from her. Better than expected. The Victim Compensation Fund helped me get a better apartment, and I got promoted to head librarian at the Venice branch. And your family? Talia took the plea deal. 15 years, eligible for parole in 10. My mother got life without parole. Any regrets? About exposing them? None. About the years I participated? Every day. We sit in comfortable silence, watching the Santa Monica evening unfold outside the coffee shop windows. Mira, I want to ask you something. What? I pull out the ring and set it on the table between us. The diamond catches the light and throws tiny rainbows across the wooden surface. Talia threw this at me and said, Find someone stupid enough to wear it. Mira stares at the ring, understanding immediately. Kellan, I found someone stupid enough to wear it. Someone stupid enough to sacrifice everything for the right reasons. Someone stupid enough to choose integrity over profit. Are you asking what I think you're asking? I'm asking if you'd like to help me prove that stupid is just another word for brave. She picks up the ring, examining it in the coffee shop light. This ring represents 7 years of lies. Or it represents a new beginning with 7 years of truth. She looks at me, and I see something in her eyes I never saw in Talia's. Genuine affection, uncontaminated by calculation or agenda. Ask me properly. I get down on one knee in the middle of the coffee shop, holding the ring that destroyed my first marriage and hoping it might create my second. Mira Venton, will you marry me? She slips the ring onto her finger. It fits perfectly. Yes, you beautiful idiot. I will. The coffee shop erupts in applause from strangers who have no idea they just witnessed the end of one story and the beginning of another. 3 months later, Talia learns about our engagement through Instagram, blocked from commenting but unable to stop watching her sister build the life she tried to steal. And somewhere in federal prison, she finally understands that some things can't be taken. They can only be given freely. The ring fits Mira perfectly because it was never really Talia's to begin with. It was always meant for someone brave enough to choose love over profit, someone stupid enough to believe in forever,